Hi, my name's Kyra Lomas. I'm a heritage architect from Element Advisory, and we've just recently completed the works on the Fauldings Building on Murray Street in the city. The building, or the buildings, are very significant, and they were built in 1898 and then extended in 1906, and they are important for their contribution to the streetscape in Murray Street. They're representative of early warehouse examples, and they're a typical construction type in Murray Street, which you see around us, which are warehouse buildings of their time. This one's also particularly significant because it has had an ongoing retail function since its completion. It still has a retail function, which is very exciting, and these works have allowed that to continue. We're lucky to have Cartier occupying the Faulding Buildings at the moment, which is a great opportunity for the City of Perth. Applying for the Heritage Conservation Grant was very straightforward. We found, because our client was already looking to undertake these works and they had us engaged as a heritage architect, it was a lot easier to go to the City of Perth grant offices at the start to discuss the project with them, tell them what we had in mind, make sure that the works that we were proposing fit with the grant requirements, and also make sure that the works we were proposing were going to enhance the significance of the place upon their completion. So the first part of any conservation project is to develop an understanding about the building that you're working on. We did a lot of research into the significance of the place, understanding its history, which is one of the most exciting parts. But we were lucky enough to have what we call a conservation management plan, which had a lot of that background research into it. And so with that conservation management plan, we had some historic photographs and imagery from when the buildings were built. What those historic photographs showed us was that the facade was actually exposed brickwork, which had been painted in the years after that. So we were able to start undertaking trials on site and discuss with the client about the possibility of reinstating that exposed brickwork to the facade and showcasing what the building might have looked like originally. We undertook paint removal works to the brickwork, and what that entailed was a lot of trials on site in inconspicuous locations that were non-abrasive, and we worked with the contractor to undertake those trials to make sure that what we were doing wasn't damaging the brickwork before we did it. So the paint removal trials was one portion of the works, and then also the repainting works was another aspect of the project. So all of the cement banding originally would have been unpainted, but it has been painted in the past, and as part of our process we follow the Borough Charter conservation principles, and what that means, one of those principles, is to do as much as necessary but as little as possible. In doing that, we realised that the cement banding was in good condition, and so the paint removal wasn't necessary for the banding. So we decided, along with the client, to just repaint the cement banding instead of stripping it of its paint. To repaint the building, what we did was we undertook some paint investigations and paint scrapes on site to try and inform us what the original colour scheme of the building might have been. As the buildings were going to be occupied by new tenants, obviously our colour scheme was important to make sure that the colour scheme fit with their branding and retail requirements. And so what we did is we started to look at what the tonal representation was on site. So we looked at the historic photographs that showed us that the horizontal banding and decorative facade features were highlighted in the paint scheme. And so we tried to reflect that on site rather than using exact colour matches of what might have been original. I think with heritage projects, it's always nice to understand the history of the place and discover its stories as part of the works. So I think that was the best part for me, is just finding out a little bit more about the history of this building, what it was used for previously, and its importance and why we actually have to keep these places in the City of Perth. For other people looking to apply for the Heritage Conservation Grants, I would say go for it. I think making the most of this unique opportunity to conserve historic fabric and undertake works to these significant places in Murray Street and the City of Perth is a great opportunity that all owners should take advantage of.